John Grant here in Los Angeles, and you got it on the 405 Live. It's Saturday morning. Thanks for joining us. And from Nevada, please welcome Janie Johnson. You know her as @JJAuthor on Twitter. Janie, hi.
Hi, John. How are you?
I'm great. Okay, here's the bio thing. You've published 2 books, correct?
Yes.
Don't Take My Lemonade Stand and Obama 2012 Slogans Rewritten. And you tweet a lot of those, and I really enjoy those.
I think I have new slogans every day, so follow me on Twitter.
Absolutely. It's well worth it. There's some good stuff there. And you're also a pretty good tennis player. If you don't mind a little diversion here just for a minute. You were the top-ranked junior in your day, correct?
Yeah, in many years ago.
Okay.
Glory days.
3-time All-American, Pac-10 champion. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is this uncomfortable? I don't know. I mean, I think it's pretty cool myself.
I love tennis. I could talk tennis all day. It's
okay.
True love.
Yeah.
And I love playing tennis. I love UCLA. I love Southern California. I love traveling the world. So tennis brought out the best in everything. My competition and just meeting new people and traveling and winning. Losing sucks.
Right, exactly. You competed professionally, and you played in all 4 Grand Slams. How long did you tour as a pro?
Well, as a pro, 3, 4, 5 years, but I played professional tournaments since I was 16, so I played about 7, 8 years.
Okay.
And that's the hard part, when you're 18, you have to decide whether to go to college or to turn professional. And at the time, it was a decision, but with my family, I had to... college, was the option. There wasn't any other option for me, which turned out very well for me because I became an English major at UCLA, and it's propelled me into my next career of writing.
Right. And I wanted to talk about that kind of leap from, youth sports or amateur sports to professional. A lot of parents with kids have experience with, organized team sports like soccer or football. But for individual sports, for kids, it's a lot tougher to train and compete. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I have a whole new perspective on team versus individual sports. I am the mother of 7 boys. My 3 older ones were, quote, stepsons. We just call them all boys. And they weren't so big into sports, they had individual sports. And now my 4 younger boys, of course, I wanted them to get into golf and tennis because it's such a great sport for a lifetime. And the tennis part as an individual sport I really pushed because I liked it as a great way to achieve. You didn't get into the team politics of team sports. However, the flip side of individual sports is that children are so young and they're looking for reassurance. And when you're put out there all by yourself on a spotlight, all your flaws and mistakes and errors show up. So it creates a lot of pressure on a child. So it's very hard to try and balance the individual part where you do get all the credit and all the glory and all the fame and you get rid of the team politics, but yet there's also so much pressure on the child to succeed, and it's a very hard balance. But on the other hand, my kids all learned golf and tennis. In fact, they were winning golf tournaments and tennis tournaments, and then they loved basketball. And we go and play the AAU basketball over in Sacramento. We play year-round now. And so we've found a great balance with everything. So my kids, we just play tennis for fun. They play in the high school team. But their true love, their passion is the team sport of basketball where they can shine individually and as a team player. So there's a lot to balance and weigh with your children. You just have to actually just find what makes them happiest and then encourage it.
Okay, and in turning pro in an individual sport, you don't have... as in baseball or football, you don't have, minor league systems, farm systems. You don't have, large rosters of players at your same level. In professional tennis or any other individual sport, you're thrown in with people who have been at it for 10 years or at the top of their game, and, you're going to see those guys in the early brackets, and you've got to sink or swim fairly quickly. Is that accurate?
Oh, absolutely, especially with tennis. It's such an expensive and outrageous sport. I was actually quite lucky because I was 14, 15. I was number 1 in the Pacific Northwest in every age group, 14s, 16s, 18s, 21s, women's opens. There was nobody left to play. And unfortunately for my father, his company cut back, and so he took a new job in southern Indiana by Louisville, Kentucky. And so I got to move to Louisville, where all of a sudden I had the University of Louisville tennis team. I had Southern tennis, I had Indianapolis tennis. All of a sudden I wasn't the best one anymore. And I just raised my game to new heights, and I had new coaching. Actually I had coaching. You know, my dad had been coaching me till then. And so the team sports, are bad too, in that you get coaches who are just dads that don't know anything. So, well, they do know a little from what they played, but it's getting the proper level of coaching to get that really good professional coaching. And when you're in these individual sports and you go up against these people who have this professional coaching and training and understand what it takes to get to the next level, it's nearly impossible in a sport like tennis or golf, even swimming to some aspects, although you can know how well you're doing against the time. But it's really hard to succeed. Plus, the tennis courts and facilities aren't available. And like where I live in northern Nevada, Lake Tahoe, we don't have one indoor tennis court. In Reno, they have 4 tennis courts, which is over an hour away. And so you're just doomed on the off seasons. That's kind of how my kids faded out, because they couldn't play one winter for 4 or 5 months. And over the winter, all the kids they used to beat now beat them, and they didn't really like that so much.
Okay, I want to segue into politics here, obviously. You don't see a lot of high-profile sports figures that are really sticking their neck out politically. I think some time ago, Michael Jordan said something to the effect that he wants to sell everybody tennis shoes, and so he doesn't want to get messed up with politics. Have you found that some of your sports relationships are different because, you've got some very strong conservative political views? Do you have to tread lightly in some situations, or do you just sort of find yourself, gravitating toward people in the sports world who think like you, or how does that work?
Oh, no, I'm here to, I don't really throw at people's faces. I'm just here to defend our American way of free market limited government. And if anyone who knows me from when I played tennis, I went big or I went home. At one time I had the world's fastest serve at 117 miles an hour when I was 16 years old.
Whoa.
And people know I just go out there, I say what it is. I've never embarrassed myself. I try, but I don't. I'm just a mom, and I just wanted, when my 10-year-old son Sammy asked me, how do you know who to vote for? I said, whoever makes government smaller. Whoever gives less money to the government. It was very simple. And why was this answer so simple is because that is what made America great. And what do we want as a parent and as citizens? We want our children, the next generation, to do better than we did. And what you see when I went on my book tour is not only did I find I didn't have friends that didn't support me, they thought I was idiotic. And they thought, oh, there's another stupid conservative living in the past. And I had people that, unfriended me on Facebook, which I didn't really care. But I felt it was worth it to stand up and take a stand for our kids, and for their lemonade stands. When the government can come close down your lemonade stand, they can take away everything. And so for me, it's not about me anymore. It's the fight for our children and our country. And that if we don't educate people on the American way, what makes America exceptional is the fact that we do have free market capitalism, and that limited government is not just a slogan. It was the result of tyranny and despotism of kings and rulers, of people who wanted to enslave. And so to me, it's not really a choice. It's just the way most people live, and that we want to be able to rise up and have the opportunity to succeed. And we don't want government or central planners telling us what we can or can't do. And that's what people around the world all have in common. And that's what my tennis friends have always done in an individual sport. We wanted to win and succeed on our own. We don't want the referees other people getting in the way. We want to follow the rules. We want some regulations. We want the tennis court to be fair, but we don't want the government in there playing and, tipping the court and lowering the net for one side or the other.
And that seems to really go against the grain of what's happening with this administration now. Its weakness, its dependency, the weakness of the U.S. abroad, the dependency of Americans on government. That's not the way I was brought up. That's not the way you're brought up. But we're being told, that's what transformation has to take place in the country.
Well, and that's what's being taught in our schools, and that's what I realized. When my son asked me this question, I volunteered at the school, and there was a Time for Kids, which we knew as a weekly reader, and there was a cover of Michelle Obama on the cover. And I stuffed the Peaches for their Peaches that go home every week. This was back when he was in 5th grade. And I said, wow. And here my dad was a nuclear engineer, built nuclear power plants, and there's not one mention in our green energy about nuclear power. And I'm thinking, wow, they're just indoctrinating our kids. But worse than that, they're teaching them that America isn't exceptional. But we are winning the battle when we take a stand. My kids now are like, Mommy, no, you can't give up. And why I went onto Twitter, why I've had over 130,000 common sense conservative tweets that promote patriotism, children, and optimism, is that we, the people, have the capacity to get our country back on the right path. We have the ability. I believe in the American people, and that we can understand why our founders gave us the Constitution, we the people, for the people, and of the people, to be able to get the government to work back for us and not them, telling us and dictating to us.
Okay. The Tea Party made some headway in 2012. Dick Lugar's gone. Ted Cruz is at least, in a runoff. Do you think it's harder to get rid of the bad apples in your own party than it is to flip the other party? I mean, Harry Reid notwithstanding, is it tougher to work from within and look at people who are supposed to be on your side and say it's time for change?
I think it all comes down to education, informing, and instructing the American people in the American way. People are smart. They're tired of what just merely sounds good, of the liberalism, of the do-gooders, that the government has the solutions, when all of us know they're inefficient and ineffective. All you have to do is visit the post office, visit the DMV, although I do say they have gotten better lately. And we realize that it's private sector, it's the entrepreneurs that make our country great. It's the private sector, it's small business that creates the jobs, and that people want the free markets, the millions and millions of people to decide our fate, and not the few hand-picked central planners determining the wages and prices. And that when people understand what the word free market capitalism, what business is, and what truly profit means, profit is just the money that allows a company to go on to the next month. And if somebody makes a lot of profit, so be it. What have they done? They've created amazing goods and services that we want to buy. Because as Milton Friedman said, the greatest single factor in free market capitalism is that no exchange takes place unless both parties benefit. And when people go back and remember, because nobody's been taught this in our schools, they've all taught that business and capitalism is bad. In fact, my son's 8th grade U.S. history textbook doesn't even mention the word capitalism. It doesn't mention free enterprise 4 times, which is the same thing. But until we can go back and truly teach our children and remind ourselves why America is great, we can win the hearts and minds of the American people. And they will be voting not just for Tea Party people, but people with the same like-minded principles. And that's why I wrote my book, and I put pictures in it. So it would be easy for people to be reminded of the 11 principles that America makes them great, and who are the people that don't believe in these 11 principles, and also to help teach our kids. And that's why I put 51 illustrations in the book of conservative kids overcoming obstacles using proven conservative principles, because our conservative principles work. Free market capitalism, it works. It rises the tide for everyone in society. It provides the wealth and prosperity that we need to take care of the poor and the needy who can't take care of themselves, and to provide the safety net that keeps us safe.
Janie Johnson is with us, JJ Author, at JJ Author on Twitter, also author of Don't Take My Lemonade Stand and Obama 2012 slogans rewritten. Amazon.com has those books, and I'm assuming there are links on your website, jjauthor.com as well, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And I just put my Obama 2012 slogans, my Kindle version is now 99 cents.
Are you going to update Are you going to update the lemonade stand book for 16-ounce Slurpees? I'm guessing you don't do a lot of 16-ounce Slurpees, so that's probably not an issue for you, right?
Well, my children do, though. The 7-Eleven is right on the way home from basketball practice. Yeah, it's just another example of liberal do-gooders thinking that, government can try and solve the problem, with lots of exceptions for their friends.
I saw a quick tweet. If you would have blinked, you missed it. You have a tennis match coming up at your place for Glenn Beck's charity. Is that still open for bidding?
Actually, last night it closed at midnight.
So you have a winner, and you've got somebody coming out to, your house to take that 116 mile an hour serve and see what they can do with it.
Yeah, I wish we had this before. Glenn Beck asked me, he's doing a big lemonade stand, bake sale on June 14th, and he's always been interested in my book. Hopefully he would book me for TV, which we almost get to.
Yeah, I've seen your TV clips. It's good. So, Janie Johnson. Yeah, thanks for joining us. I appreciate your spending some time with us. We'll talk to you again. I really enjoy your tweets. Again, it's at JJAuthor on Twitter, jjauthor.com. Check out her books, or on Amazon.com, and some really good stuff there, especially in this very pivotal election year, 2012. Janie, thank you.
Thank you, John.
John Grant here in Los Angeles. You are on the 405 Live, and we'll be right back.